selling all their Vin villas, liquidating a lifetime of assets in Vietnam just to trade for a US green card. Is this a stroke of genius, or the wealthy heading toward a total downfall? Hello everyone, I am Ho Cang. In the hundreds of luxury real estate deals I have handled for clients, many were wealthy tycoons. And recently, I have witnessed a wave of the rich liquidating assets to settle in the US. Everyone thinks moving there is paradise. But do you know what the harsh reality is? In Vietnam, they are somebody, they are respected figures. Living in a Vinhome with a personal driver. Passive cash flow from several shophouses arrives steadily every single month. But upon arriving in the US with a few $1,000,000 in cash after selling everything, they suddenly realize they are just average middle-class people. They even have to mow their own lawns, clean their own homes, and face stifling tax rates. With $5 million in Vietnam, you are a king, but with $5 million in California, you can only buy a normal house and watch your assets evaporate every year. Let's do a realistic calculation with Ho Cang. $5 million is about 125 billion Vietnamese dongs. In Vietnam, you own a riverfront villa from Sun Group or Vinhomes. Land prices skyrocket every year by 10 to 20%. Not to mention the passive income from rental yields. Moving to the US, $5 million buys a relatively nice house in a good community, but look at the property taxes, 1 to 3% annually. This means without doing anything, every year you lose several billion VND in taxes for the house you live in. The American dream is starting to taste bitter. Why are wealthy foreigners pouring money into buying Vietnamese real estate? While the wealthy in Vietnam are handing their money over to US banks? The mistake lies in their cash flow mindset. I have worked with many overseas Vietnamese. They share the truth. Making money in the US is extremely difficult because the tax system is so strictly controlled. Meanwhile, the high-end real estate market in Vietnam, like Vin or Masterise, offers a unique privilege. With capital appreciation rates among the highest in Southeast Asia, selling a golden egg-laying asset to move to a saturated market like the US is unwise. That is not investing, that is an extremely risky financial trade-off. There are major business owners in Vietnam who, after 2 years in the US, have called me in tears, wanting to return to buy back their old villas, only to find the prices have doubled. This is a 100% true story from one of my clients. He used to own a business and a villa in Ho Chi Minh City. He moved to the US for his children's education, but language barriers, culture shock, and the loss of social status drove him into depression. The savings he brought from Vietnam dwindled every day, while his assets back home had already been sold off. When he wanted to return, his remaining money was no longer enough to buy back his old Vinhomes property. Don't let the American dream turn into a financial nightmare. The wealthy choose to settle in the US, but the wise wealthy do it differently. They choose to earn money in Vietnam, own Vinhomes real estate, and only travel to the US for vacations or to send their children to study. The current trend among wealthy Vietnamese is no longer to abandon their homeland. The right mindset is to keep the core of your assets in Vietnam, where economic growth is fastest. Let properties from Masterise, Sun Group, and Vinhomes generate cash flow and appreciate every year. Use that very cash flow to fund your children's international schooling in the US or buy a small apartment there for them to live in. The core assets remain in Vietnam. This way, you gain residency without losing your financial launchpad. Never put all your eggs in one basket, especially when that basket is on the other side of the globe. Observe how billionaires are allocating their capital at this very moment. If you are planning to sell your assets to move to the US, take a moment to pause. Keep at least 50% of your assets in highly liquid real estate and income-generating properties in major cities like Ho Chi Minh City and Hanoi. Products from Vinhomes or Masterise homes are always the safest shelters against inflation. When you move to the US, should any contingency arise, the cash flow from Vietnam will remain a lifeline to help you maintain your elite status. A 100 billion asset can grow to 200 billion if placed correctly, but it could also drop to zero if invested in the wrong country. Which bet would you choose? Luxury real estate is not just a house, it is a strategic puzzle for an entire family legacy. With experience in hundreds of million-dollar transactions, I, Ho Cang, understand clearly when to hold, when to fold, and where the safest profit coordinates are for your capital flow. If you need a seasoned advisor to provide deep analysis on real estate cash flows, especially for luxury properties from Vinhomes, Masterise Homes, or Sun Group, contact Ho Cang immediately. Or if you have a different opinion, please leave a comment. Ho Cang, your companion in wealth management. Goodbye and see you again.